Before and after. The difference between how you looked and what you wore when you first arrived at boot camp, and then they gave you a uniform and then a haircut. That distance from you on day one, standing in your very first real military lines, to the moment weeks later when they mark your transformation from recruit off the street to U.S. Marine. Before and after transformation, inside and out, as part of joining the military. Our next guest is a U.S. military veteran who went through 3 distinct transformations in his military career. Shane Ortega became a U.S. Marine, and then he became a U.S. Army soldier. And while on active duty with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Shane Ortega came out as transgender. Sergeant Ortega left active duty a year ago in July 2016, which happened to be 1 month after President Obama lifted the ban on transgender people serving openly in the military. Sergeant Ortega is now an advocate for transgender service members. He joins us tonight as this new president has just sowed chaos. The old policy that says it's okay to serve openly in the military as transgender service member, that policy is still up on the Department of Defense website right now. Nevertheless, the president has announced on Twitter that there will be no more transgender service members, even as thousands of them currently serve in the armed forces. This is chaos for all of us trying to make sense of it tonight, but from having been in the middle of it, I can't imagine how it feels. Sergeant Ortega, thank you very much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you, Rachel, for inviting me. I greatly appreciate you caring about this very important issue.
Oh, I do care about it, and I'm absolutely flummoxed as to what is going to happen here and what the president expects is going to happen here. Let me just get your top-line reaction, how you heard about this today and how you felt about the news.
To be quite frank, it was gut-wrenching. It feels like the president doesn't appreciate any of my personal service or dedication to to our country and in the defense of our people. But personally, I found out about this because I received a phone call from an actively serving transgendered service member at about 5 a.m. this morning, Pacific time.
And your friend who contacted you, any other transgender service members you've spoken to today, can you tell us anything about their reactions?
I haven't been able to reply back to every single call, but right now I have over 90 different phone calls from different actively serving transgendered service members who are incredibly concerned about what this means not only for their service careers as in the military, but they're also highly concerned about what this means for the United States citizens when somebody starts attacking people with this sort of discriminatory and bigoted policies.
Do you have any sense? Obviously, as a policy matter, we don't really know what the president did today. He made this proclamation. He doesn't appear to have followed it up with any other sort of formal order. Clearly, the Pentagon had absolutely no idea this was coming and certainly had done no preparation for it. It's the exact opposite of the kind of process that we saw in terms of the Obama administration, for example, getting rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and lifting the ban on openly transgender people serving. Because of that, we don't, just as a policy observer, it's hard to tell. If the military did decide to take this as an order and try to implement this policy, do you have any sense of how they would do it or how they could do it if they wanted to?
Well, as a retired staff sergeant, I have to think about my experience as a mid-level supervisor. This would have to be something that came down from the Department of Defense itself, and they would have to write a formal policy that would therefore then be handed to the headquarter departments of each of the branches of service to interpret the policy and then begin an implementation period. So that you can't just sort of do these sort of idle threats, which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing right now, using social media to implement policy. It's not in an official capacity, but it would have to be an official policy that's concise given to these headquarter departments to be actually implemented.
Do you expect that will happen? Do you, in terms of, I mean, I know you've been a keen observer of how the policies have changed over the years thus far. What's your expectation?
Not to be sort of Machiavellian, but I was not surprised by this sort of attention getting action taken by Donald Trump. I actually sent out a tweet on July 13th about this particular potential that was happening because right now Donald Trump is lashing out in any capacity that he can to bring attention to himself and detract from his basically incompetence in office right now. And I think that, I'm sorry, Rachel, can you repeat that one more time?
I was just going to say, what do you think is going to happen here?
I think what's going to happen here is that there's going to be a lot of panic. You know, what we could call this is what I call a fire cell of people, where everyone is rushing to the door, trying to figure out exactly the plan of action to not only protect the service members, but also the plan of action to protect the infrastructure and the cohesion of the military as an establishment.
Shane Ortega, a retired military staff sergeant, now an activist working for LGBT equality in the military. Really appreciate your time tonight, especially because you're in touch with so many active duty trans service members who are absorbing this news and trying to figure out what to do tonight. I'd love it if you just stay in touch with our staff and let us know what happens with folks that you know over the next few days.
Absolutely. It's so important, and I really appreciate you giving me this time. It's really important for the American public to get involved with the policy that is happening right now.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate your time tonight, man. All right, we've got much more to come here tonight. There's a lot going on. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.